CSS keyframe animations are a very popular tool in CSS to make different kinds of animations. So, when should we use these animations first of all? So, when we are, let's create a style.css file first. So, when we are actually making something that doesn't require user interaction, we have to use these keyframes animations because using JavaScript will be overkill. For example, when we need a user interaction, for example, when the user clicks a button or when the user scrolls, then we would have to implement JavaScript. But here, if we just want to play an animation without the user's input, we can simply use keyframes animations. So let's start. First of all, let's connect our CSS with our HTML using a link. Just style.css, this basic. Second of all, let's create an element. Let's say that we have a box, right? A div of a box. Let's give this div some default dimensions. Box, let's say. Width, actually, let's say height of 75 pixels. And an aspect ratio of 1 to 1, that is a square. And finally, a background color of red. Now we have a square here, as you can see. Now what we want to do is we want to move the square from here down to here and return it back here. So how can we do this with keyframes animation in CSS? So basically we want to create a triangular shape, right? So that's very simple actually. First we want to apply an animation. Um, we want to say, give it the animation name. So let's say move. How fast should the animation be? It should end in 2 seconds. And let's give it a linear timing. Linear means basically from the start to the finish, take the speed and don't change the speed. Make it in a constant acceleration. Okay, so the acceleration actually will be 0. So let's create this animation, right? So the animation's name will be move. So we start by saying keyframes, okay? Then the animation's name, keyframes, animations. Then we have some percentage values. So 0% would be at the 0% of the animation when the animation starts. 100% will be when the animation ends. So when the animation starts, the body should be here, right? So when the animation progresses, it should be somewhere over here. Let's give it a transform actually. When the animation ends, it should go down here and return back. So best practice is to say transform, translate 0 pixels, comma 0 pixels, that's the X and Y. Now if we apply this and refresh, there won't be shown anything. Let's make this 4 seconds to make it a bit more visible actually. Now at some point, let's say 25%, at 25% of the animation, we want to transform, translate to be, so we are only changing the X and not the Y. So let's say maybe 400 pixels and 0 pixels on the Y. So if we now refresh, you can see it returns. But the problem here remains that the box is returning to its original position, right? So to counter that, we can say forwards, meaning the animation should stay where it ends. And here we should probably give it a transform, translate of 0 pixels and 0 pixels, because at the 100% we want it to be end where it already started. So let's start. So it comes back and it returns in 4 seconds. This is a 4-second movement. So what's next? So let's say on 50% we want it to be here, down here. So 50%, we basically want to say transform, translate, uh, 400 pixels, comma 400 pixels. So we're moving it down. Well, the y here was 0, now it will become 400. So if we just refresh, let's see how this works. Exactly what we want. So this is the power of CSS keyframes animation. If we do it again, now you can see we can adjust the values here. Maybe cut it in 4 equal halves. By maybe we can make this 75%, and it will be slower here and faster here, you see. So you can play around with this and make it as you like. And one thing we can add here is we can say maybe you can say color red here to start. This would be red, and when it ends it should also be red. But here maybe in the middle let's make it blue, and somewhere let's make it green, just to see how this actually works. So 0%, it doesn't seem to be changing actually. Okay, sorry, it's not color, it's background color. So now let's refresh, screen, then red. And okay, so now using this we can chain many different properties. So the first thing we want to do, let's actually move this forward because we already sent that manually. We can say linear then infinite, meaning this will run infinite amount of times. So stars, it does the animation, then it returns, it does this infinite. So let's make this faster, make this 2 seconds. So as you can see, you can chain many different properties. Maybe you can say ease in out to change the timing, so make the animation a bit smoother. As you can see, yeah. So you can play around with this. I've just showed you the basics today. So this is just CSS keyframes animations. I hope you enjoyed, you learned. Thanks for watching.